Here in Washington, Congress is getting ready to kick it into high gear with the House officially back in session tomorrow and moving to the top of the agenda, a vote on a war powers resolution. That's according to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who put that in a letter to her fellow Democrats. Not a word in that note about impeachment, by the way, even with Republicans rolling out a new strategy, trying to put pressure on the speaker for her refusal to send those articles to the Senate. And in the Senate, you've got top Democrats this morning taking issue with President Trump's classified war powers notification, sending him a new letter just this morning. We're talking about Senators Menendez and Schumer. You see them both right there. NBC's Kasie Hunt is back from her maternity leave. She is on Capitol Hill. Kasie, it's great to see you where you belong, in the hallways. Talk me through the developments this morning, though, as it relates to these new sort of steps that Democrats are trying to take to put pressure on the president on Iran.
Thanks for the welcome, Hallie, and a formal congratulations to you and Frank. I'm so happy for you guys, and let me know if we can help you with absolutely anything.
Thank you. All of your close.
Yes, indeed. But of course, right back to the news, which has been completely nuts for all of you who have been here in my absence, and it's rolling through today. And let's start with Iran, as you mentioned here. We have that letter from Menendez and Schumer. They're essentially saying, hey, what you put in the notification to Congress doesn't need to be classified, and you need to tell the American people about it. And whether or not the administration is going to go along with that is, of course, what you and your colleagues at the White House are looking to see. But there's no indication at this point that the administration seems willing to do anything along those lines. And this has been, something of continuing concern. And there's a bill from Senator Tim Kaine focused on war powers. And this is something that he brings up pretty repeatedly whenever we see a situation like this. However, there really isn't pressure right now from Republicans to do anything. And in the Senate, of course, they would need Republicans to go along with this. In fact, the sources that I've been talking to close to Leader McConnell and others are focused on talking about the legality of this president's action with regards to Iran. They do underscore that senators need to know more because at the end of the day, there still has not been a briefing for all senators. We're expecting that to come up this week, Hallie.
Kasie Hunt, back on the Hill. Kasie, thank you much. And she is right. Plenty of news to talk about. And we're talking about it with Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna of California. He sits on the Oversight, the Armed Services, critically, and the Budget Committees as well. Congressman, it's great to have you back on the show. Thanks for being here on a busy morning.
Happy New Year and congratulations, Hallie.
You as well. And thank you, Congressman. I appreciate that. Let me start with the war powers resolution that'll be coming up in front of the House here. What impact do you realistically expect that to have on this administration? And should it have been a higher priority for Democrats, frankly, before this point?
It should have, Hallie. I mean, the president has taken action that is unconstitutional. And here's the fact. We had a bipartisan majority in both the House and the Senate that were willing to stop this president, stop any funding from taking an offensive action against Iran or Iranian officials. That provision was stripped during the National Defense Authorization. So now Congress needs to reassert our role by passing the war powers resolution. I do believe we can get Republicans. We got Republicans in Yemen when we passed the war powers resolution in the Senate and the House, and I'm hopeful we can do it again.
The intent would be to send a message to President Trump. Is it a message you think he is willing or able to hear?
Well, it's not just a message. He would be, again, violating the Constitution by disregarding Congress. And it's illegal. It's, frankly, another impeachable offense for him to continue an escalation without Congress's authorization. And Congress actually does have the power of the purse. I mean, ultimately, we can just say we won't fund it.
It's interesting that you call it a potentially impeachable offense, Congressman. Obviously, that word has a lot of significance. It is very fraught with meaning, given the point of time that we are in now. Are you suggesting that if the president did not abide by a resolution, if it were to be passed by the House, by Congress, that you would potentially add that to articles of impeachment against him? How serious are those discussions happening with your colleagues?
It's definitely on the table. I mean, there is no greater offense, in my view, than sending American troops to war without congressional authorization. The president has compromised national security when it comes to Ukraine. It's why we began this. And he is now threatening Iran with 52 strikes on their cultural sites in violation of the 1954 Hague Convention on Cultural Property, something that George Bush helped get ratified in the Senate. I mean, it should be scary to people what this president is doing. No regard for the decision-making process, no consultation with Congress. This is exactly what the framers intended the impeachment power to be used for.
Thank you for checking out our YouTube channel. Why don't you subscribe? It's really easy. Just click on that button down there. And for more news from MSNBC, click on any of these videos here for the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more videos from MSNBC with our newsletters. Head over to msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up.